Hey y'all, how's it going? Railroad Captain back here again today, and hope everybody's doing all right. Man, we had some crazy storms around here the last few days, and it's just been the wettest year that I remember since I was a kid. And on top of all that, I don't know if the camera's picking them up or not, but oh my God, these idiotic cicadas. It is just a constant roar outside. It's like you just got to turn the radio up. It just drives you insane. But anyways, this is like the only day to try to get out and get anything done around here because it's supposed to start storming again. But so I'm still a little ways out on being able to pull this motor out of here and go through it all. I mean, this motor's only got 150,000 miles on it to be a 72. I know it's crazy. But it is, everything in it's leaking. It's just awful. I mean, every motor and transmission seal in this truck is leaking, dripping, something, you know. So, you know, the easiest fix on that, of course, is your valve covers. You can go out here and buy these new gaskets. I went and got these. Apparently, these are supposed to be probably the absolutely best you can get. 1628 on these Felt Pros. They've got metal inside the gasket. To keep them where they're supposed to be. They've got the metal and the inserts in here to keep them from being crushed. They're pricey, but they're reusable. This should be the only time you ever have to get them. Make sure you don't over tighten. They said 5 foot-pounds, which is 60 inch-pounds. I'm going to use my inch-pound on it instead of the foot one. It should be a little more accurate at that low a deal. I also picked up a set of these. I painted them to match up with the high temp paint. That should help distribute that a little bit on there. And I've got the studs in here. If you don't have the studs in, you need to pick up a set of these studs. It just makes everything 100% easier. Best thing, these gaskets, like I said, they're reusable, so when I do pull this motor, I won't have to buy another set of these expensive gaskets. These should last from now on. And I got all this, I wiped down the area in here. Everything looks pretty good. The problem is, and I went ahead and done this up, and I was telling you, this high temp paint, I don't know if it's got worse over the years or I just got a bad can or what, but it did not cover. I ended up having to go back and get another can and finally finish this up, and you know, it was crazy. But anyways, you got to check these valve covers. I mean, nothing's perfect to start with, but when you take stuff that's 50 years old, and that's where most of your leaks are coming from, is from the back. And then they're running right down the back of the heads, right down the motor. It's just awful. But the problem with these is people's over tightened them over the years. You know, they're thin metal, the heat, stuff's gonna give, and they were terrible. I mean, just absolutely, I know, I've been here trying to clean the garage up. Get out here, Walter. So, you know, it took a little while. I had to sit down here and do all this up, and I got my level square out here, my framing square, and, you know, my hammer and the wood, and it took a lot, but you need to put that thing on there. You would not believe how off these were, especially from these bolt holes. I mean, there was nothing level about it. There was no way that people would buy these gaskets. As expensive as these gaskets are and as good as they are, I don't care how good something is, it's not gonna seal up if it's not level, y'all. You've got to be able to get your, you know, you've got to have this as level as possible and to get it straightened out. And if you have to take the hammer, you gotta take your hammer, you gotta take your straight edge and put on them. It takes some time. You need to finesse them and spend a little time on that, because I don't care how much your gasket cost. If it was off as bad as mine were, it wasn't going to work. There's just no way that those were going to work out. So, you know, you gotta do them on the inside. You gotta flip them over and check them on the outside. And it was a process. It was a huge process, and it's one of those things that I can't tell you how to do it. Nobody can tell you what you need to do with that. You're just gonna have to do it yourself and use your straight edge to make sure you get them beat back down, get them leveled out, or no gasket in the world's gonna seal. And most of the reviews that I've seen on these gaskets, oh, they didn't work. There was your problem right there. You've got to have them straightened up. That's all there is to it. So that one's done. So I'm getting ready to put these back on, get them back torqued on, and hopefully that'll help out with a little bit, because as great as Baby Blue runs, and we ended up having to put a cam in a couple years ago because it was just shot. But no more miles is on it. All the seals are gone. So hopefully everything will work out, and my rich uncle gets out of the poorhouse and, you know, sends me a big donation or whatever. But anyways, hopefully this next winter I can get ready and pull this motor and transmission out of here and go get all that done and get everything put back and go be able to enjoy her once and for all and not have to put oil in it constantly. So anyways, we'll get them put back on, and we'll check back here when we do and show how everything turns out. All right, we got her put on here. I said it's 5 foot-pounds. That equal out to 60 inch-pounds. I used the inch-pound one, so it would have a little, hopefully be a little bit closer. 5 on a foot-pounds, or at least on my torque wrench. It's not, it's like the first one, and it just kind of, I don't know. Surprisingly, it took a lot more for that to go down there than I thought it did. And then I done it, wait a minute, went back, and each one of them went a little bit more before they clicked the second time, which I guess is just that rubber in there. So probably a good idea to check them again after a little while. Check, make sure you don't have any leaks, and check again to make sure that you don't need to just hit that torque. Just one little old thing. Hopefully, won't have to fool with that. The worst thing you can do on these is over torque them. That mars everything up. That gets everything out of whack. It's not level anymore, so you don't want to do that. And I went ahead, like I said, I shot some paint on there. Looks a lot better. And now I got to do this one. I remember when we put the cam in, it's been 5 or 6 years back, and I went ahead and took them off there then and cleaned them up. And my grandpa always complained about his valve covers leaking. And they never did really fool with them or try to get much done, or he'd put the old cork gaskets on them, which would never seal, and that was just something I think that just irritated him to no end forever. And when we had that cam off there, I cleaned them up and painted them, and of course I got a little bit better gasket. They weren't these, but they were better than the cork, so they did seal up there for a little while before they started leaking again. And so I took pictures, and I went over that day, and he had done been in the hospital for a couple weeks. And anyways, I went over there, and I couldn't, I was going to show him the photos and tell him I got his valve covers looking better, looking good and painted, and he couldn't wake him up that morning, and they called, and he died that night. So hopefully, I'm pretty sure he heard me. If not, he knows it by now. But I was definitely going to make sure that, you know, it's only been 5 years and there hadn't been enough miles put on this thing to amount to anything, but paint is just something that's hard to keep on an engine. I don't care, it's heat resistant, whatever. You got oil, you got heat, it's just something that doesn't stay. So you know what, if I got to take these off every few years and throw another coat of paint on them, then so be it. We'll make sure Papa's valve covers stay looking good there, right? All right, well, like what you see, give me a like, comment, share, subscribe if you hadn't, and hopefully this weather will flare up one of these days and quit raining and quit being so darn cool to be this late in the year, and maybe we can all get to some car shows and finally get out and hopefully enjoy summer. Hopefully. So anyways, y'all take care and be safe, and we'll catch you later.